My name is Amanda.
And I'm Kristin.
And we are the Exorcisters. So sit back, relax, and let's get creepy. Welcome to Hype Episode 11. And if you're new here, Hype Episodes are outside of our normal schedule, and we review movies that are currently in theaters, so brand new, at least as of July 2019, if you're listening to this in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this one, we are going to be discussing the new Sam Raimi film, Crawl. And I also would like to mention, this is our first time using some new audio recording software that we have.
Yeah.
So it may sound a little bit different. I need to work on backing off a little bit because my voice is deeper and a little bit more tonal.
I need to work on getting closer because I'm quieter.
And this is the first time we've had a setup with two different mics because Yetis...
And also, it is raining and thundering outside, so you're gonna
I just stopped for the thunder, but Yetis are a little bit more difficult to use two mics with than USB mics, and I have a MacBook, and they just don't work, so now we're using a Windows computer and a new software, so if it sounds kind of weird, apologies, we're still working on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But hopefully this is better, because hopefully this will make us a little bit more even, because we have a lot more control over our...
I hope so. It was really fun to set up, so that was fun.
Yeah, for a little while. For like a little bit. The problem is our mics are so good that we
keep echoing each other.
Yeah, they pick up each other talking because I guess we're not far enough. But y'all don't really care. But just so you know, we're working on it if it gets a little weird here and there. Mm-hmm. So I did not really have a ton of expectations going into this movie, one way or another. It's an alligator movie. It's a monster movie. It's like a shark movie, kind of. Like, these are real things just dramatized for a movie. And so I was kind of like, I mean, what can you really do with that? Yeah. But I was surprised. I mean, it's not like it tried to be a Jaws or a huge hit of a horror film. It's a fun summer thriller.
Yeah, exactly. I was super excited to see something different. We've had a lot of psychological, a lot of ghosts. We've had one slasher, Chucky, I guess. Yeah. Two, probably us. Yeah. But I was really excited for something like monstery and different.
Yeah, this is on the heels of Annabelle and Midsommar. One very bad, one very good.
Exactly.
But very different. Mm-hmm. And this one, it knew exactly what it was, and it wasn't trying to be anything other than what it was.
No, exactly. It didn't, like, it gave you some background information, but you didn't really need it, and it didn't delve super deep into it.
Right.
So that was really good.
Yeah, and honestly, there were, I read some things, and nobody really hated this movie that I saw, and I think it was probably fun for Sam Raimi to do, just like a straightforward, gators are gonna eat you if they catch you movie.
Definitely. And
I also really appreciated that it was just there were some good jump scares, even though you knew what was coming.
It was like such good jump scares.
It wasn't like they were cheap. It was like, oh god, there's a gator.
It was really an alligator gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some people saying on the internet, like, oh, there are alligators in a house. Like, that's so not plausible, and maybe it's not the most plausible thing in the world, but if you look at a place like Florida that's prone to hurricanes, or any place that's prone to flooding, there was a city in Texas actually during a hurricane, and somebody got a picture of a fucking shark going down a street.
Right, it's not like it hasn't happened.
They don't know where to go. They're flooding too. Like, they just go with the water and they just swim. And you're in Florida, and in one of the opening scenes, she drives by an alligator farm. So they're not, like, calculated or evil. They're just animals. Instinctive, especially gators and crocodiles. Just instinctive eaters.
Exactly. It was great.
But they're terrifying. And also, it's not like, shark attacks are, I'm not going to say rare, but people that go into the water every summer. But gator, like...
people get eaten all the time.
In Florida, especially, they're in people's yards all the time. Because a lot of people's yards back up to channels and bays, and they're everywhere. They're in lakes in Texas. I see people that I know go fishing, and they're like, oh, fuck, found a gator in Tawakoni today. So... they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with that because I've been stuck in Colorado my whole life.
Right.
But I've heard from you and Jess, who grew up in Louisiana, that you guys have often swum in ponds and lakes and stuff with alligators just, like, in it. And that was just a thing to do.
Well, I gotta say, we weren't like super aware. The only thing that I ever saw swimming in a lake was a snake swam past me, and I deuced out. I was like,
I bet you did.
I know that there are harmless rat snakes around here, but I also know that there are water moccasins, and I ain't about that.
Yeah.
So, but yes, there have been gators found in, or crocodiles. I'm not sure, honestly. Like, I know the difference if I'm looking at them side by side, but they have been found in lakes that I have swam in. So, yeah. Because you don't really think about them outside of, like, a swampy area. But if there's water and fish and prey, why not?
Especially if they've wandered over there. Might as well make it their home.
Exactly. So this movie, it's, like we said, pretty simple.
It is. It's real simple. But that's fun, too.
Yeah. It just starts with a university swimmer. Her name is Haley. She gets a call from her sister, Beth, who tells her, hey, there's a Category 5 hurricane. It's headed towards you. And she's kind of like my family and most Texans. We're like, oh, there's a tornado. Set up the lawn chairs. We'll go inside when we see that funnel touchdown. Like,
she also swims for the gators.
She does, yes.
Oh my god.
Little things that they're like, oh, we know this is cheesy, but bear with us.
Which I like. I'm cool with that. As long as you know what it is, that's fine. Whatever.
Right. And so, you know, she's not really worried too much because in Florida, hurricanes happen all the time. You know, in Texas, tornadoes happen all the time. We're just kind of like, oh, there's another nader.
Freaking the fuck out. That rain that she drives through.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. But people even in Florida during this hurricane are like, we got to get the fuck out. Like, it's a big deal. So she doesn't. She decides that she is going to check on her dad because she's kind of estranged from her dad. Like, they were close for a while, and now you can kind of tell they're not close. But her sister Beth doesn't live in Florida anymore, so she's like, Dad's not answering my calls. Can you go check on Dad? All this shit. So she's like, fine. He's like 2 hours away from her in the direction of the hurricane, and she's like, that's fine.
Totally. It's okay.
Yeah, and I get a lot of this movie happened because of stupid decisions. But I feel like they weren't stupid decisions that wouldn't be made in real life.
Dude, I agree.
Like, I think you're going to go after your parent or any family member that you're close to or even used to be.
Exactly. Or him. He talks about later that he loves this house. He can't bear to get rid of it. Of course he's going to want to go shore it up for the storm. Right.
And because you find out that her parents divorced, and that's why she's mad at her dad, or they're estranged. And he can't let go of the house. And I really, like, when we sold our childhood home after my dad died, like, we went kicking and screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
We did not want to fucking leave. And so he goes to work on it and board it up, and he's basically going to just board it up and hunker down there. Which is how people die, by the way.
Yeah. And get eaten by alligators.
Apparently. So on her way down there, she checks his condo first, which would have been the easy thing. But she does find his dog, Sugar. And you see the dog. And so first of all, we were the only ones in the theater.
Which was so fucking good.
Yeah,
we got to talk through the whole thing.
Yeah.
We're like, don't go in there. Or, oh my god, save puppy.
Or as soon as we saw the dog, we were like, oh, fuck. The dog's going to get eaten. Like, they're just going to notice the dog is gone, and that's what's going to happen. But it fucking doesn't.
Which is great. That never or rarely happens in a horror movie. That they don't pull on that heartstring, and that was so exciting.
Yeah. They didn't kill the dog in the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. But Haley and Sugar go to the Coral Lake house, and they have a crawl space underneath. So if you've listened to us for a while, in a few episodes we mention a movie reviewer on YouTube named Chris Stuckman, because we really like his reviews.
Yeah, we tend to match him pretty well.
Yeah, and he mentioned, and he liked the movie, but he did mention, he's like, there's this basement that's got like holes in the brick on purpose as part of the architecture, but I think he missed, like, he's like, basements aren't in Florida. I think it was just a crawl space. I don't think it was meant to be a basement, which is why it was the way it was, because there are a lot of houses in Florida that are built up on stilts because of the flooding, or because a lot of them are like beach houses and hurricanes are a thing. So I think I guess
that's true.
What he missed there.
Especially if it is just a crawl space, you want the holes in it so that the water goes somewhere so that you don't just get mold.
Exactly.
So that
and
makes
that
sense.
It doesn't rise up into your house.
Yeah.
So I think that was, or, you know, like you said, settle around the foundation.
Yeah.
So I think because the entrance was actually like in the garage, it wasn't like in the house. There was one.
That's true.
The main entrance was in the garage. So I don't think it was meant to be a basement. I think it was just meant to be a crawl space, or the house was up on stilts. stilts a little bit.
That's a good point. Good catch.
And I know that just because I've been to Florida several times, and most of the houses we've been around or stayed in are up on stilts to an extent. Like, usually the garage will be like a little below, and then the house will be above, where they'll have something like that.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
So she can't find her dad, and of course she goes down into the crawl space.
Because she hears the radio.
Right. She's not a stupid character.
She's so smart.
For the most part.
Yeah, there are a couple things where she fucks up.
But you're not pissed off at her the whole time.
Yeah. There's a couple things also where I'm like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Especially freaking out in an emergency scenario. Would not have thought of it.
Yeah. Like, she has this crank flashlight, which is great because the batteries aren't going to die. She can just crank it up and it's on again. And she goes down there, and poor Sugar is upstairs barking. Like, he's like, my people are down there. I can't get down there.
That's fine. You stay up there.
Yeah. You stay up there, baby. If you live, I'm good.
Exactly.
So she goes down there. She finds her dad. Passed out. He got fucked up by a gator. My only minor issue with this is it's like a technical thing that I could be wrong about. From what I understand, some gator enthusiast is going to come for me. They tend to eat, they don't just leave their prey. And I know that he got into where they couldn't get in, but there were a couple times where it seemed like they would just attack and then like bail. And maybe that's because they can't see well and they just bit at something. I don't know. That was my only like mild like. But I also understand they're being dramatized as monsters, so okay, maybe they'll just attack to attack and leave, but I don't think gators typically leave whatever they attack.
Right.
So, my only comment there. But he is unconscious because he's been fucked up by a gator. And there's a little place...
It's like bleeding out.
Yeah, there's a little place in the crawl space where there's a bunch of pipes, and if you can get under them, the gators are too big to get under them. So, you can kind of get to safety there. But he wakes up, sees Haley... And now they have this issue of the crawl space is going to flood, number one. They don't have a lot of time. Eventually, they figure they have about an hour.
Yeah. This, though, before that, she tries to get him out of the crawl space. And that's when she first sees the alligator.
Yeah.
But she's so smart because I wouldn't have thought of this. She tries to pull him. And she's freaking out because he's bleeding out. He's unconscious. She tries to pull him, but he's in mud and he's just sinking. So she gets him on a tarp.
Little too.
Exactly. She gets him on a tarp to pull him because that would actually work. I don't think I would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I would have just panicked and cried and freaked out.
Yeah.
So she does do a few things that are really smart.
Yeah. And you're right. That's when she sees the gator. So when Dave wakes up, she's like, gator. And he's like, yeah, no shit. And they, like I said, they know it's going to flood. They need to find a way out. He's really messed up, so he can't really do anything.
Guy, this whole fucking movie.
Yeah, he gets fucked.
A few times.
Yeah. Big time.
His arm, we see his shoulders messed up. Later, we see his leg is so fucking broken, the bone is poking out. And then eventually he loses an arm. This poor fucking guy.
Yeah, and he's a trooper.
Yeah, dude.
I guess in that situation, it's almost, I would think the pain would send you into shock, but if the shock is fighting your adrenaline to survive,
yeah, I guess
maybe the adrenaline wins because your body's just like, survive. My body would be like, we don't want to. We're good. We're good. We're just gonna pass out. So, of course, the alligator that we know is down there is right by the fucking stairs.
Yeah, it's
like,
just hiding out.
They can't go up.
I thought that's where the eggs were going to be. I thought that's why it was going to be there.
Because she was protecting a nest.
But why was it just hanging out under the stairs the whole time?
Maybe that's where it decided was its little... I don't know.
That was my only problem, was I figured that the nest was there, and then it's not. You find out, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever.
And then you find out, while she's kind of, like, attempting to, like, navigate, there are 2 alligators down there.
Yeah.
2 of them. Of course, she's trying to escape, and she's also trying to, like, be quiet and, like, sneak around them. And she drops her phone, and it gets stepped on. Because you have a flashlight. You don't need it for your flashlight. And Dave, her dad, tells her there is a second way to get out of the crawl space. It's, like, in the hallway of the house. And, of course, she tries to open it, and there's something on top of it. Which... I mean, you're kind of like, oh, come on, don't put stuff on top of your crawl space entrance. There's shit on top of my crawl space all the time. It's in a closet, and there's just shit on top of it all the time. Granted, we only have one way in and out of our crawl space, but there's shit on top of it all the time. So, and then you see this secondary scene, which I thought was pretty good. There are these people that stayed behind to loot, which is a great idea.
God, stealing the ATM machine. I'm like, that is gonna sink that boat.
We learned from Breaking Bad that even if you steal an ATM, you ain't getting into the ATM, or your messed up wife is gonna crush your head with it.
Oh my God. True.
Yes. Maybe just steal the stuff in the gas station and have your snacks.
Yes. Like,
have
and
a snack
the
and a
dude
Slurpee.
is like taking the cards, which don't even work until you scan them at a register. So he's
like taking gift cards and stuff. Yeah. Which, if there was still, there's no power. I was like, but if he had a scanner, he'd just go doop, doop, doop. That would be smart.
That would have been.
We even talked about what we would loot, I think, a little bit afterwards. Like, if we stayed behind, we'll just loot. It's fine. The stuff's fucked anyways.
But then they get Ed. So that was cool.
Yeah, one of them's in the boat because she's trying to signal them from under the house, like with a little flashlight. One of them sees her, and so he kind of walks in because the water's like up to his knees. He kind of wanders out into the water to kind of like see across the street and see what's going on. And then behind him, you see the gator just like coming up onto the boat to get to the woman that's in the boat.
Meanwhile, we're seeing more and more swim in.
Oh, there's like, a shit ton.
How many are in there?
A fuck ton. Like Sharknado. But with crocodiles.
Crocnado.
It's Hurricane Croc.
Oh, we renamed it. It's no longer Crawl.
Category Croc. I'll go home. And so then the second guy gets it, and there's a third guy, the one stealing all the gift cards. He's just like chilling, getting snacks.
That was cool though. He saw it in the mirror that people watch so that you don't steal shit.
Yeah.
That was good.
And you see him get got in that mirror. Yeah.
There were some really good jump scares in this.
There were, because it's not like you don't expect stuff, but then stuff just kind of happens and you're like, ooh.
And of course it can't be, or it could be, but it's not fake jump scares. Like you're actually seeing an alligator that's gonna kill you.
Right.
Great.
You know it's going to come up somewhere. Crocs and gators are pretty sneaky, like even in the wild, you know. Yeah, they're like swimming, and then all of a sudden the antelope's dead.
I mean, they're camouflaged with like rocks and
they're fucking and dinosaurs.
Dude. She fights a dinosaur.
She does.
Multiple times.
She does.
She's the apex predator. That's what her dad calls her the whole time.
The whole time he's like, what are you? Apex predator! Which is kind of lame.
But if it gets you there in an emergency situation, then apex predator all the way.
Apex predator that bitch.
Exactly.
Do you know who's at the top of the apex predator list? What animal?
I know you're going to say killer whales, but are we not?
Well, in the wild. Oh,
yeah. Killer whales?
Yeah. We wouldn't be, though, if we actually... Like, apex predators wanted to take us down, they fucking could.
Oh, I'm sure. We get eaten by them all the time.
Yeah. And then 2 cops come because she blew past one that kind of knew her, like, from high school or something.
I still want to know what happened to the boat.
It probably just got blown away and went down because its propeller stopped working, so nothing's holding it in one place, so I'm sure the current just took it.
Yes, but I needed to see that.
Well, I just gave it to you. You can visualize it.
You did not make that movie.
So these 2 cops show up because she knows one and he saw her going to try to get her dad, even though he was like, don't fucking do that. She did it anyways. So now he's coming to check on her. And she basically gets him killed because these 2 cops come on this boat. One of them gets out, gets eaten by gators. The other one also gets eaten by gators because he's trying to get all the like leaves and seaweed and shit out of the propellers that got stuck.
Even that, he would have been fucking fine had he not gone over to the swing set. Why are you even going over there?
I don't know.
Yes, we see that it's stuck that way. Some weird shit's going down. Honestly, even if it's a body, what are you going to do at that point? It's probably a dead body.
And if it's not, it's going to eat you, which is exactly what happened.
Or you can't bring it in the boat right now to take it anywhere. So what the fuck are you doing?
Curiosity killed the cat. Killed the cop.
Yes. Satisfaction to not bring him back.
No. You know, I know that this is a monster movie and you're not supposed to feel sorry for the gators, and I get that, but they're also just like doing as nature intended. And so Dave actually and Haley formulate a plan for her to, because now they're like up to their tits in water. Like she's got to swim under these pipes and stuff. Luckily and conveniently, she's a swimmer. And so she has to swim around and find a way out. They're coming in through this storm drain, which is just conveniently in their house.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I didn't
understand that at all.
I didn't either. Yeah, it was really hard to tell because she's swimming underwater where exactly that storm drain came into the house.
Yeah, like, it's almost like a broken piece of wall that she just, like, you could essentially just walk into if it wasn't flooded.
Right. It's huge.
Yeah. Nobody was gonna maybe that's what he was down there fixing. I don't know.
Maybe.
He was down there fixing something.
It's just a little disorienting trying to figure out where she was when she was underwater. But she goes through this drain pipe while her dad also back to where I kind of felt bad for the gators because he splits one's head open with a shovel. And I was kind of like, oh. Like, I understand. He
needed to survive.
Yeah, it wasn't just one of those useless killings. Like, they need to kill the gators. Exactly. Like, she blinded one with a screwdriver in one scene. Yeah. But at the same time, you're kind of like, I know that it's a killing machine, and I would also do the same thing if I was in that situation, pretty much with anything. But it is kind of sad.
I thought of that, too. I was also like, get it, but then there was the other half of me going, oh.
It didn't do anything wrong. It just is eating. It doesn't care.
Exactly. It's really cool. It does things like in the wild how alligators will grab their prey and spin them over and over and over again to drown them. Yeah. And it actually does that in one scene. And I was really excited because that's one of my favorite, I guess, nature things that they do.
Just evolution things. Yeah,
I'm like, cool. Oh my god, that's so fucking cool that an animal does that. So that the fact that they showed it, I was like, yes.
I was wondering if they were going to at any point because that's kind of a signature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you get it too much into the gator versus crocodile thing, you're not going to like it. These gators are like massive crocodile-sized alligators, and alligators can get big, but usually crocodiles are the ones that get like massive, and these are that size. So I think they're actually crocodiles, but what the fuck do I know? I don't know shit. So, but anyways, she goes in to the storm drain and she finds that they have made their nest and laid eggs there. So they're coming in and out of that storm drain because she almost runs into one. Yeah,
and babies are popping.
Yeah, and she gets the gun off the cop and she kills another alligator. It gets her arm, though.
I'm like, it's gonna bite her fucking arm off.
Her arm is in the mouth while she's firing the gun, and she probably gets off 6 shots before that thing lets up. Yeah. And she finally does get upstairs into the house, and her fucking dad is drowning. Like, it is. Yeah. It's filled up down there. He's basically up against the house, and so she grabs a crowbar and pries the floor open and pulls him out and resuscitates him because he is gone.
Yes. One thing, though, that pissed me off is she just starts stabbing at the floor first. It is a crowbar. Stab and pull. Don't just fucking stab at the wood over and over. You are gonna watch him drown. Jesus Christ.
Or stab him in the face.
Dude, you gotta fry it up.
Yeah. So, Dave is resuscitated. Haley's in the house. And Sugar's still in the house. Yeah. The dog is still okay. And they see that the people that were looting, for some reason, the police boat washed away, but the looters' boat did not.
It looks like it got stuck in the pumps, so I can at least hold on to that one. Okay. But I want to know what the fuck happened to their boat. I want to know. Her car is right there. You'd assume it would, like, hit that at least and stop for a while. No.
Maybe the gators popped it.
Police boat's gone. Yeah. Looters' boat right there.
Yeah. Which is a shittier boat.
Out of it.
I don't know. Maybe the gator needed money. I don't know.
He just needed about tree fitting.
About tree fitting. And of course they're like, okay, we need to cross the street, but there are like, I don't know, at least like a dozen gators just like in that general vicinity.
But the rain.
But yeah, they only really can hunt when they see like splashing around. So they're like, we have rain cover, so we'll just make it from one side to the other very softly. And
what's gonna happen?
The rain fucking stops because the eye of the hurricane's right over them. I know, I never saw that coming.
Not a horror movie. No.
I don't know. Perfect coincidence.
But he's got the puppy and he's holding her tight.
He do have
We're both like, oh god.
Better hold on to that dog. The poor dog is soaking wet and it's like, this is the worst fucking day. She should have just left me at the condo. Right. There would not be gators at the condo.
Exactly.
And of course he's like, and if the levees break, we're fucked. So what happens?
Oh yeah, of course.
She swims over to the boat being chased by gators because now she has no rain cover because he's like, what are you? And she's like, an apex predator. So she goes and gets the boat, and then as they get in the boat, the levees break and they get washed away. He holds on to that puppy. He does hold on to the puppy, and then they get washed back into the house, like perfectly. Just there you go. And she's like, at least she acknowledges. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
first thing I thought of was Jurassic Park when he's in the tree in the car, and then they're on the ground. He's back in the car, and that's all I thought of. We're back in the house again.
Yep. But Sugar does get let go at this point, but you see this undershot of her swimming with her little legs, and we're like, go, 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 the Sugar!
Fates. Oh my goodness.
If only the dog survives, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she makes it with her little feet, and then he throws her up onto the dry part of the house, and then he gets his arm bit the fuck off.
Yeah, so they make it upstairs, and he throws Sugar up.
So and proud. She's like, going.
Yep, and then that gator just takes his fucking arm. He's like, this is mine, thank you.
I would be totally fine with that. If I saved my animal, I would lose an arm. I'm cool with that.
That's true. I had a fucked up dream last night.
Oh, God.
And it has to do with that a little bit. But I had a dream that I was walking my dogs, Izzy and Leia. Mm-hmm. Izzy the pug, and Leia's a pit bull. Mm-hmm. And Izzy was my first baby. She's the first puppy I ever had. She's 6 years old. I've had her since she fit in the palm of my hand. Yeah. So I would literally die for that dog. Mm-hmm. And I had a dream that somebody basically, like, didn't hold a gun to me, but held a gun to her to rob me. And I was like, oh, you're going to have to kill me. Like, you either take all my money, because they were at first like, we want her because she's a pug. And that's like one of my biggest fears is if I take Izzy to a dog park, is because even a pug that's like not elderly, which she's not yet, you can sell them. Like, they're a breed that's like a sought after breed. So I'm always paranoid at the dog park that somebody's going to take her.
Definitely.
And so I always, luckily she just likes to stick by me and she doesn't like run around very much. So I think that's what my dream was like, playing on that fear a little bit. But they were like, give me the pug so I can sell it. And I was like, she's 6 years old and I can give you more money for my bank account than what you can get for her. And then I was like, what if somebody was ever like, I'm going to take your dog or I'm going to kill you? I'd be like, you're going to have to fucking kill me before you take that dog. Like, dead. So I would also save my dog.
Dude, right? Have you ever seen Veronica Mars?
No.
Okay. Do you know the premise?
Kind of.
She's like a little PI who works with her dad, and she helps her friends out. Okay. There's an episode that has always stuck with me because it's so horrifying. It's about a girl. She loses her dog because she's babysitting at a rich person's house, loses her dog, and then there's this big old reward money thing, but she doesn't offer up enough money. So they basically, the people who don't offer up enough money, they just let the dogs go, like, Jesus, on the road, and they get hit by cars and killed.
Oh my God.
Or they just flat out euthanize them. Jesus. But the ones that offer up big money for the return of their stolen animals, because they steal them right out of their own yards. Yeah. They're the ones that get returned.
That fucking happens, dude. I hear there was one recently in Dallas. It was a French bulldog puppy. Gone. Out of their yard. Happens all the fucking time.
That scares the fuck out of me. Literally. Like, there's some things, because I have cats, I miss out on, like, I don't get to go out to dog parks or out to anything that allows dogs, or because cats aren't allowed anywhere. Yeah. But then there's things like that where I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
I don't know what I do.
Right. I have two fears. One is somebody's going to steal my pug, and one, Leia is a pit bull, so that's all I have to say about that.
Like, if she got too aggressive, quote unquote, or something.
For example, like, she's the sweetest dog. She's never shown any aggression, but when she was about 6 months old-ish, I know we're on a tangent here, but when she was about 6 months old, a Rottweiler went after her and, like, ripped one of her toenails at the quick, and it hurt her, and so she snapped at the Rottweiler. And I just feel like if she was just defending herself and she did not strike first, she got hurt. Yeah. And then, even then, she just snapped and tried to run away. Right. But she's a pit bull, so exactly. If it ever was, let's say if it was ever, like, a chihuahua that bit her. Like, you know, that owner, even if she didn't hurt the chihuahua, would be like, vicious pit bull, put it down.
Absolutely.
That's why she doesn't go to dog parks very much, because I'm scared somebody's going to use that against her. Not that she would ever do anything, but...
That's what I'd be terrified of, too.
I mean, I've seen, like, a bunch of dogs at the dog parks of all breeds get into it that are typically, you know, not aggressive, and they just get in each other's space, and they're dogs, but...
Exactly.
And she plays loud, too, like tug-of-war. She growls, and she doesn't hurt, but she sounds scary if you don't know her.
Exactly. So. Unfortunately, she has that bias where she's not allowed to act the way she should.
Right, and especially we're in Colorado Springs, just an hour north in Denver proper, they're fine. They're completely banned, so we don't go out a lot.
I bet. Poor Leia.
But anyways, moral of the story is I would have also given my arm to save my dog. So eventually Haley gets upstairs as well after she struggles with a gator. She gets a walkie-talkie that one of the cops lost, and then she gets death rolled by a gator,
which was great.
Yeah, and Dave actually lost an arm trying to get some flares, so we've got a walkie-talkie and flares now, but we're down an arm.
Yeah,
that's what the score looks like right now. I'm surprised Haley hasn't lost an appendage, because she's been gotten by a gator a couple times, and it rolled, and she didn't lose her arm
and shoulder.
Yeah. So she uses it to broadcast a distress signal, and they have the road flares, and there's this scene that's actually in the trailers where she gets chased into a bathroom, and this was so smart and so risky.
Yes,
so even in this bathroom, it's like halfway full of water, like almost to the ceiling, so she's swimming still. She goes into one of those showers that's got the sliding doors, and she hides from it, and it can't break through that for some reason. But she times it, she opens it up, and the gator comes in, and she goes out over the top, and she closes the gator in, and it can't figure out how to get out, so she traps it.
But yeah, things like that, like, it's gonna get out, but that saved her probably a few minutes, and I don't think I would have thought of it.
Right.
I think I would have just fucking bailed.
And cried.
Either that, like, I wouldn't have gone up and over, or even if I did lock it in there, I don't think I would have thought to close it. Yeah. And even given myself that second.
Right. So again, not really a stupid character. There were some times, because there's a lot of, like, swimming around and navigating the basement that we aren't, like, going into detail about.
Yeah, or like Connor mentioned, when she's down there and the cop's looking for her, she could just lift
the board or whatever.
Yeah, where she was already pushing it up, but there's, like, a table on it. She could just lift that up and yell, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
And she doesn't.
And there's, like, a time where she's, like, looking around at something and, like, thinking about something when she should be moving her fucking ass.
The fucking eggs.
Yes,
and her dad almost drowns for that shit.
Yeah, dude. She's, like, looking at the eggs hatching, because these gators are hatching, and she's just like she's at a fucking Nat Geo, like, fucking exhibit, like, go. Yes, there are gators, they're laying eggs, that's what they do, move the fuck on. So there are a few little frustrating things, but it's all to build suspense and meh. So they get to the roof, and they flag down a rescue helicopter, and ta-da, the dog makes it. Everyone. So at the end of this, you see them all on the roof, and she flags down the helicopter, and they're lowering it. Dave is really fucked up. He's losing a lot of blood. Lost an arm, broke a leg, got puncture wounds in his shoulder. You don't actually know if he lives. It just kind of leaves you with that they are being rescued,
and they're just wandering around in all this water.
Like, yeah, this
they for sure got
some sort of infection. 100%. My only comment here is this reminds me of, like, they tell you in these situations, search and rescue, we may not be able to get to you. So if you don't leave, you are risking your life. You can't rely on 911 when 911 is also underwater.
Exactly.
Or, like, man, there was a fucking day where there was a blizzard here. And if you don't know what the Manitou Incline is, it's basically a 2-mile hike that's all stairs, and you gain, like, 1,000 feet of elevation like that. Like,
and this
it's
is
hard.
Still April when we get blizzards.
Yeah, some jackass hiked the incline, got blizzarded on, and couldn't get down, and had to call search and rescue. But it was also a blizzard, so they had to get their people out in a fucking blizzard on top of the incline where no one should be anyways.
Which, by the way, is my people. Because a few guys that I have graduated with from high school from Manitou are the Manitou Fire Department now.
The search and rescue teams.
So they are the guys that have to go up there and save your fucking asses. They have to go into Garden of the Gods when you're too stupid and climb all the way to the top of the rocks and aren't prepared and have to come get you and shit like that. So now you're not only risking your life, you're risking theirs as well.
Exactly. And that's my, like, what I'm saying about, like, these fucking, yes, I'm glad you got rescued, but I'd be driving that chopper like, we should just fucking leave him.
Dude, right?
We told him to fucking move.
And we're watching the chopper, and it's like swaying.
Yeah.
Really hard. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Mm-mm. Especially in a Category 5, those hurricane winds are like sometimes 100 plus miles per hour.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You don't deserve to be rescued. I know you were trying to rescue your dad and stuff, but like, they fucking told you. It's on the radio when she's driving. Search and rescue will not be able to get to you.
Yep.
Period.
I mean, yay, save the puppy.
Yes. The puppy didn't do anything wrong. Put the dog on the cart and then lift the dog up. Yeah. Bye. Good luck. We only had room for the dog. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
But honestly, like, regardless of some of the like little things that were kind of annoying, it really wasn't a bad movie at all. Like,
it was fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed it watching it. It wasn't like, there's not a lot to dig into because it's not a deep movie. It doesn't try to be a deep movie. It's a movie about a hurricane and gators getting people. Period.
Yeah, and it knows that that's what it is. That's what it does.
Sam Raimi didn't try to do anything fancy or unheard of. He made a good alligator movie.
Which I respect. And good enough to actually make it into theaters, because most of this stuff we would see, like, on TV.
Sci-Fi Channel, like Sharknado. Yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed it. I probably would give it like a 3.5 out of 5 because it was a good, solid movie, and I'd say I keep my 4s and 5s for like really good movies, but 3.5 is still a solid, respectable 3.5.
Yeah, I tend to go a little higher than you, and I was really excited to have something that wasn't so bad.
Mind-numbing.
Yeah, exactly. So 4 out of 5. It was really fun. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it again.
I'm wondering, not to pick at your rating at all, I wonder if we hadn't had so much bad this year, if you would knock your rating down at all.
Probably. Most definitely.
Like the bar has been lowered.
I think so. I think after Annabelle and Curse of La Llorona and what other...
Pet Sematary.
Oh my god. Whatever bad... I feel like we've seen so much bad shit. But if we hadn't seen those, I'd probably be like, 3. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on this 11th bonus episode again. Hope our audio is not too weird. We don't know till it's recorded, and at that point, we're not doing it again. So hopefully this sounds okay. But feel free to follow us on our social medias to hang out with us and see what's going on. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Exorcisters Podcast. On Twitter, it is just at The Exorcisters. And if you have any movie recommendations, you want to tell us what you thought of Crawl, we would absolutely love to hear it. One of my favorite emails to get is, this is what I thought of the movie you just reviewed. Please feel free to email us at theexorcisters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay creepy.